We went over how the
Couldn't Godzillasaurus survive Jurassic Park and Jurassic World?
Godzillasaurus would fare on Skull Island, and well, you guys seem to like that a lot. So, why not revisit the Godzillasaurus a second time? This time, we're going to be seeing if he could survive and defeat the entirety of the Jurassic Park franchise. The Godzillasaurus' main factor in making it so far into Skull Island was his regeneration. Well, this time around, he's fighting dinosaurs, so to make things fair, we're going to be removing his regeneration aspect from this fight. I know, I can hear the boos already. That's his main thing, but I mean, just comparing the Godzillasaurus to the largest theropod in the universe, the Indominus Rex, he's almost 3 times his size. I mean, giving him radiation would just be overkill. Now that we got that out of the way, let's briefly break down what these dinosaurs will be dealing with. In the Godzillasaurus' brief appearance, or pre-radiated Godzilla, whatever you want to call him, he showed some very impressive feats in comparison to the larger theropods featured in the Jurassic Park franchise. While these weapons were from the World War II era, he was completely immune to conventional firearms. While we never saw Shikishima fire the 20mm Godzilla Zero, it's been implied that those wouldn't have dealt significant damage to him. In regards to his strength, he was easily throwing the soldiers hundreds of meters. He was also able to pick up the fighter and throw it into the air with his jaw with relative ease. He's not going to be the fastest thing in the world, but definitely comparable to the dinosaurs he'll be facing. His massive tail is definitely going to be useful here, considering his massive size at 50 feet in height. Unfortunately, there isn't a specified weight for him, but considering something like a T-Rex weighs in around 9 tons and the Godzillasaurus is roughly 3 times that, let's just put his weight at 30 tons. Now that we've gone over the Godzillasaurus, let's get to the dinosaurs he'll be facing off with. He'll be facing off the Raptor squad consisting of Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, a herd of Ankylosaurus, 2 Indoraptors, Buck and Doe Rexes, 2 Giganotosaurus, 2 Spinosaurus, an Indominus Rex, the Mosasaurus, and lastly the Scorpius Rex. You'll see why he's so high up. With the list out of the way, let's get straight into could the Godzillasaurus survive Jurassic Park? Starting off, we have the Raptor squad. This Raptor squad absolutely tore through the mercenary squad sent to hunt the Indominus Rex using their agility, speed, and intelligence. However, we can't exactly compare humans to something like the Godzillasaurus. Now, when 3 of them fought the Indominus Rex, I can't remember if it was Charlie, Delta, or Echo that died before, but they're basically the same thing anyways. The Indominus Rex made quick work of them, tossing them around with ease. Considering how much larger the Godzillasaurus is, the Raptor squad would get absolutely annihilated. They could very well pull off hit and run attacks, but the durability of the Godzillasaurus would grant it almost immune to the attacks of the Raptors, so the Godzillasaurus moves on with basically no difficulty. Next up is a herd of Ankylosaurus, who also encountered the Indominus Rex, however, it was only one of them. The Ankylosaurus is known as the Living Tank. Featuring an armored exoskeleton and its infamous wrecking ball of a tail, it's able to shatter bone of even the largest theropods. This lone Ankylosaurus that managed to find itself fighting the Indominus alone put up a decent fight, clobbering it in the head. However, the weakness of the Ankylosaurus is its unprotected belly. Once flipped over, the Indominus made quick work of it. Considering there's 4 of them in this scenario, they can very well shatter the Godzillasaurus' ankle. However, once again, thanks to his tremendous size in comparison, he could very well squash them like bugs thanks to his weight. While he could dispatch with them pretty quickly, he won't escape unharmed, so Godzillasaurus moves on with low diff. Next up features 2 Indoraptors. The Indoraptors, similarly to the Godzillasaurus, are immune to conventional firearms. Their durability is quite high. The Indoraptor is basically a raptor on steroids. He's larger, faster, stronger, and of course more intelligent. The Indoraptor can get up to 24 feet in length and around 9 feet in height. With this speed and upgrades to both strength and intelligence, this might actually be an issue for the Godzillasaurus, considering there's 2 of them. While the Godzillasaurus can squash them like bugs, they're far too agile and far too fast for this to happen. Similarly to the Raptors, they can pull off hit and run attacks, but this time it would actually be effective considering the Indoraptor is made from the Indominus Rex, whose claws could penetrate bulletproof glass. They could do tremendous damage if they manage to get on the Godzillasaurus' back. However, the Godzillasaurus could very well roll over and just squash them. Similarly to our previous scenarios, the Godzillasaurus' size would absolutely carry him throughout the fight, and he'd eventually kill them both with around mid-difficulty, specifically because of their speedy nature and intelligence. Next up, we have another pair, this time the Buck and Doe Rex, featured in Jurassic Park The Lost World. The T-Rex in Jurassic Park weigh upwards of 10 tons and can get around 40 feet in length. Despite this being the first of the large theropods, they are absolutely dwarfed by the Godzillasaurus. However, there are 2 Rexes in this scenario. Attacking from 2 angles, it can very well throw off the Godzillasaurus. Using both of their forces, they can definitely displace him a considerable distance, but wouldn't be able to knock him down As much as I love the T-Rex, there's just nothing they'd be able to do. While the T-Rex had the strongest bite force at a staggering 8,000 pounds of force, they would leave some nasty wounds in the Godzillasaurus, but once again, he'd move on with mid-diff, as you're gonna need speed if you don't want to get crushed. Next up is a pair of Giganotosaurus. In the Jurassic franchise, the Giganotosaurus is the more powerful of the two theropods in comparison to the T-Rex. In my opinion, the T-Rex slams in real life, but we're not going to be debating that here, at least now. Paleontologist FDA coming soon? But anyways, the Giganotosaurus would face a similar outcome to the Rexes. While they're larger and stronger than the Rexes, the Godzillasaurus could just kick them or send them flying with his massive tail, resulting in the Godzillasaurus moving on once again with around mid-diff. Next up, we have the two Spinosauruses. Notice how I'm putting them in pairs because
He does say a naughty word, I remember that.
honestly more heated than Legendary Godzilla versus Heisei Godzilla,
Oh.
and I'm saying this as
Yeah.
Godzilla being my favorite piece of media in general. Despite that argument starting up back in 2001, you still see debates with the T-Rex versus Spinosaurus. Moving on, the Spinosaurus is the largest of the natural
Spinosaurus
theropods
wins.
in the Jurassic Park universe. Their claws can be used to grip to make up for its lackluster biting strength. The Spinosaurus is a great swimmer as well, basically being a crocodile in the water. Weighing in at around 12 tons and a length of 43 feet, these two Spinosaurus combined could come close to the Godzillasaurus' weight. Considering the Spinosaurus' strength and considerable speed, the Godzillasaurus is facing his hardest fight yet. The two of them would be able to knock over the Godzillasaurus and do some major damage to him, potentially injuring one of his legs to the point where he starts to limp. However, as we've mentioned multiple times throughout this video already, his size is going to carry him throughout the fight. Being this much larger than your opponent does indeed make a difference. The Godzillasaurus is still much stronger than them individually, and unfortunately for the Spinosauruses, they'd get overwhelmed and slammed repeatedly. I don't think this fight would be easy for the Godzillasaurus, so I say he moves on with a round high difficulty. Next up is the Indominus Rex. The Indominus Rex is the most powerful theropod in the Jurassic Park franchise. Spliced with the DNA of multiple different dinosaurs, one of them being the T-Rex, they could grow up to 50 feet in length. The Indominus Rex has the speed, weaponry, and intelligence of raptors, and also the power of a T-Rex. The Indominus Rex has night vision, can camouflage itself, and is immune to conventional firearms, similar to the Godzillasaurus. The Indominus Rex was knocked over by an RPG, but was completely fine from the blast. He's very sadistic as he does kill for sport. He made quick work of an Ankylosaurus, and you know what else he made quick work of? The subscribe button. Be like the Indominus Rex. Slam, stab, and even bite the subscribe button. It only takes a couple of seconds. He also demolished the Raptor squad and had Rexy beaten. It took the likes of the giant Mosasaurus to finally bring it down. Well, how would this translate to a fight with the Godzillasaurus? With its speedy yet powerful nature, it would be able to knock over the 30-ton Godzillasaurus and cut deep into him with a sickle claw. The Godzillasaurus' bullet-resistant hide won't hold up against the jaw strength and the claws of the Indominus, as the Indominus easily pierced through the gyrosphere, which is bulletproof glass. The Indominus would land many great hits, landing far more than Godzillasaurus, but guess what? The Godzillasaurus would still win. Once again, his size and power is far too much for a single Indominus to handle, and with high difficulty, he does move on. Next up is the Mosasaurus. The first and only creature on our list to be finally larger than the Godzillasaurus, but would this matter? Let's find out. The Godzillasaurus would be an excellent swimmer and fighter in the water, as his amphibiousness that is featured in his radiated form would translate to this form. His dorsals can be used to a degree like Tiamat, being sharp enough to slice into the Mosasaurus. However, we need to take a closer look at the Mosasaurus. It lives in the water only. It is adapted for water combat to the max. Its forefins would allow for it to make quick turns and catch the Godzillasaurus off guard. The Mosasaurus definitely features the stronger jaw. Overall, the Mosasaurus is the faster swimmer, the better swimmer, stronger, and larger, which would allow it to ram the Godzillasaurus with an insane amount of force. Finally, the Godzillasaurus loses after making quick work of his previous opponent. Now that he's finally lost, we still have one more dinosaur, which is the third hybrid on our list, the Scorpius Rex. You may be asking yourself, but FDA, how can the Scorpius Rex, which is legit the Indoraptor from Temu, put up any sort of fight against the Godzillasaurus? Well, I'm glad you asked. The Scorpius Rex features poisonous quills on its back, which it can shoot. Once they penetrate, the poison will go to work, resulting in organ failure and eventually death. While the Godzillasaurus will make quick work of the Scorpius Rex, if it can land some of these quills, it won't take long before the Godzillasaurus succumbs to the poison. Keep in mind, we did rule out its regeneration in the beginning, since that would just be overkill, and he would beat everyone. If we didn't, his body would realize the poison within and just regrow new organs. Well, there you have it. The Godzillasaurus clears basic.
And there you have it with this video with me. Make sure to check out FDA. He's the one who made the content. Bye guys, and peace.